said that the railway station is in the forest. There's no security, no police, no vigilante, and they are at the mercy of God. The station is in Igweben town, just about 1.2 kilometers away from Igweben General Hospital. So it's appearing as if it's not just what happened in Abuja. It requires a very holistic approach to be able to identify where these train stations have the personnel to really handle all of these train stations and police all the tracks across the country. I
believe we do. It's a matter of deployment. We have 109 senators, and their lives are precious. There's no doubt about that. You know how many security officials escort them around. We have 365 House of Reps members, and we have some corporate organizations that are strong enough to command the presence of security agents. And of course, the government can recruit if necessary. So it's a matter of prioritization. It's not as if we have not identified where we have these stations and these facilities. After all, we installed them through a project management. In fact, it's towards installation of surveillance equipment.
But so, he was the one who wanted helicopters to be flying.
You know, I got a report at a time that disturbed me.
Yes.
That the government was frowning at deployment of drones in a situation where we have chronic insecurity. Then what are drones for? We have helicopters. We have, I keep arguing that Nigeria does not lack capacity to secure this nation. And that is why, in public relations, some may come to the perception that there may be a strong bias for terrorism against this nation from the way matters have been handled. I just raised a point when we started this conversation, that good a thing that the kidnapped victims were all rescued, reportedly, talking about the Abuja-Kaduna train attack. How many of the kidnappers were arrested?
So it was a negotiation between government and the non-state.
So you negotiate to the disadvantage of your citizens. ECOWAS gave a report of the billions of naira that these terrorists have mobilized in the country, and the government frowned at it.
Perhaps as a fallout of paying ransom, the argument is that when you pay them ransom, you empower them to do more. But on the other hand, it's also the sanctity of life that needs to be protected. Just hold that thought. Mazi Okorafor has called in from Abia State. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Mr. Mr. Good morning, our guest in the studio. You see, when the Kaduna incident happened, I was expecting Nigerian Railway Corporation to do what? All the railway lines in Nigeria use the same method they have adopted in Kaduna to cover all of them. That is why you said somebody is proactive. But Nigerian Railway, they are not proactive at all. Every time we blame to Christian Obeda. Now, you ask yourself, all the budgets they collect every year from the Federal Ministry of, what are they doing with them? At the end of the day, we start querying asking ourselves, because if the budget, at the end of the ministry or the agency will not make use of the budget, at the end of the directors and the chronists will share the money. Now, the money they are using now to train or to look for those terrorists, is it not the other one they will use to keep the security network of those places? It doesn't. So, for you to enter into a business, you must have a focus. You must be talented. You must not interfere in nature. You must be sure that your customers, their business, they are well protected. That is what we call business and to have a foresight in business. But now they are running business, they are just doing that, sitting down, and they are making money, they are not interested about the security network. It's very that you have to, all this one they are saying they charge. That charge they are showing us was what we saw that day. If they did not discuss anything, we saw that charge on the television when they said they raided that place, that heavy stage. We saw those students. So where are they going to let them? Where the young guys discuss this from where? Let us face the issue of life. Do the needful in terms of security in all our businesses. When we face it, now ask yourself in Kenya, what happened? Look at Kenya, Ruto. When before the election, now El Shabaab with terrorizing all those places in all states in Kenya. Now what happened? 3 years take precautionary measures. Let us do the needful. Back to Crap from Article. Good morning.
Thank you, Mazi, for your contribution. So you're saying that so the situation right now is that we fail to be proactive, to gather intelligence, to prevent crime. We are faced with the challenge of being reactive. And this, at the moment where people are kidnapped, it would seem as if we do not have the manpower or wherewithal. Because what we even hear from the president himself is that it's not as if we don't have the attacking force, but we are concerned about the safety of the victims in the custody of these kidnappers. So it leaves government with no other option than to pay ransom. But on the other hand, the more you give them money, the more empowered they are to do more. So it seems we're in a fix, don't you think?
I think I brought it into my argument of compromise. Let's approach it this way. When the Constitution says in Section 14, subsection 2, that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government, the spirit of that provision is not that people should be hungry for 75 days, then you now bring food to them. That people should be kidnapped and chased around, killed and battered before you protect them. It's about being proactive. You see, our leaders travel. When you get to Dubai airport, there is a way you are handled before you even go in. If you are getting into the US, the border control has a strong security profiling. The same thing when you get to a Canadian border. Why? Because they are careful about who comes into their country. And when you talk about, in fact, Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall between Mexico and America. But when we go to Egypt to say African immigrants are welcome to Nigeria without qualifying the skills required, the skill set, and the KPIs to receive visa on arrival, so some countries are seeking highly skilled immigrants. We opened our space to anyhow immigrants. Why will we not be in this state? There had been reports of what some of these terrorists may be doing with the money they are mobilizing in Nigeria to develop some foreign countries. So is it that we have been exposed to the enemies? The National Advisor on Security, or one of them, gave a report that is the big ones in the Sahel region. Who are the guys in the Sahel region? Go and Google and study. You see, it's not as if they have not attempted to invade some countries. There was an attempt to invade Ghana. Ghana sent them out. I was reading a report where a sociocultural leader was appealing to the federal government of Nigeria to go and appeal to Benin Republic to allow their people there. I said this when this farmers-herders clash started. There is nothing like farmers-herders clash, nothing. There is a deeper intention than what was expressed to the people. So now, there are farmers in the trains, because from the account of some witnesses on this Edo, they gave the account of who came attacking. The Kaduna, Abuja, they gave the account.
Hold that thought, just a minute. Joshua has called in from Iriwolide in Osun State, right? Good morning.
Good morning. I greet your guest. So sad that lives of people are being wasted this way in the country. I'm really very disturbed, like almost tuning out of this media thing, kidnapping, killing. It's bad for us that human life is now reduced to nothing. I think I would hold government squarely responsible for this, because for the sake of government has monopoly of security. They hold the guns. We, the citizens, don't have guns. They are the ones that know where guns come from and where they go to. We are not licensed to carry guns. We are helpless. Government is playing lip service to community policing. Now, we don't have effective structures for community policing. I have situations in my local community where we are trying to at least prevent ourselves from being invaded. And then it is government law that says don't put even in an estate, don't put a gate in your estate so that you will become invaded. These people will come, heavy equipment, and overwhelm everyone. No police, nothing. I hold government squarely responsible for all this, and it is sad. They should do something and stop wasting people's lives. Thank you, Nifemi.
Thank you, Joshua, for your contribution. So you talked about the identity of the attackers. The SP we spoke to earlier gave an interview where he was quoted to have said that he described the gunmen as headsmen, loose bands of armed persons who used to rear cattle, but have now become full-fledged criminals, killing and kidnapping people at will across the country. It sounds familiar, right?
You know, let me go back to criminology. These are descriptive. These are cosmetics. Crime is crime. So what is the link between rearing of cattle and
carrying
lives of wasting lives of human beings? So why won't a Jide Ologun go to Kano State as a lawyer and call other lawyers like myself, look at a beautiful environment, pluck off the billboards of the businesses there? If these people come out to say, what are you doing? We kill them, set them on fire, and put our own signboards. That is what is going on in Nigeria. People are being internally displaced in this country. Who is replacing them? We should ask serious questions. Mr. President, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I will be disturbed if my president leaves office with what is going on without fulfilling his promise to make this nation secured. I will be highly disturbed. The expectations were high. That is what is going on. Somebody was arguing anybody can stay in any part of the country. I agree with that. Fundamental human rights, global. But now, so you can come to the forests of Edo State, kidnap, disrupt 3 million citizens, out of about 260 million citizens being in multifaceted poverty bracket. And now, the rail system that should be generating revenue, some miscreants, some criminals are disrupting the system, and the government is happy, sitting in office. It should not be allowed. I think my president should be very, very angry at this point in time. I just said it here. Go and look at the relevant laws we have in the country. He is the one that has the authority to issue license on AK-47. I don't have time to give us the history of AK-47 here. And people bring AK-47, they are terrorizing everywhere. You cannot wake up and say you want to visit your village. I mean, I'm not comfortable with this. I mean, is this how it is in Saudi Arabia? Is it how it is? So, I mean, then what are we talking about foreign direct investments? Who wants to invest in an environment like this? We lost about $2 billion to oil theft in 5 months. So we are not even discussing that. People are shouting about increase in electricity tariff and everything. What kind of a thing is this? People cannot be safe. To travel by road trouble, travel by rail trouble. I mean, something must be done.
We have a caller from Kaduna. Good morning, Abubakar.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
My contribution is just one. The identity of these passengers of train attack, how do we come to understand that they are from their herdsmen or whichever tribe or clan they are from? Because the agitation I can see the legal practitioner was asking of when, how, and who confirm they are herdsmen. So I think it is better we leave them as an unknown gunmen other than giving them a certain name. Because up to now, the identity of those criminals were not even unveiled. So I think it's more preferably better for us to look at certain people who will be touched. We from the north, we are not happy with our own fellow human beings as in fellow people, what they are doing here, like Zamfara, Maiduguri, and so on and so forth. We are fighting them within ourselves. So what we are trying to bring out here is let's look at a kind of a balanced equation. These are unknown people from Edo State that went and attacked these people. And up to now, the government was not able to give us a full detail of the criminals. So I think it's better for us to look at a very clear picture of those people before we can give them a tightened tag. That is my own contribution for now. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Abubakar, the police spokesperson in Edo described the gunmen as headsmen. And I quoted him earlier saying that they are loose bands of armed persons who used to rear cattle, but have become full-fledged criminals, killing and kidnapping people. So that's where the information is coming from. Thank you for your call from Kaduna. There's this conversation where we tread cautiously as to how do we describe these criminals? What do we call them? And then we're hiding under the phrase unknown gunmen. Don't you think that fighting crime begins with identifying the people committing this crime?
You know, I mean, these are arguments.
And calling them who they are.
These are arguments. For as far as I am concerned, your ethnicity has nothing to do with you being a criminal.
Indeed.
If you profile the oil theft in Nigeria, I'm sure all the ethnic groups will be represented there. But crime is crime. Crime is crime. And that's why I like the advanced system. When a former governor in this country escaped the long arms of the law and was picked up in Dubai and taken to the UK, some people left from his community to give emotional evidence in court that he developed an Olympic-sized stadium. And the judge jailed him for specific crime. Yeah, you can see a Nigerian that is being held in the UK now. He's a honorable here, but he has questions to answer there. So whether it's a Yoruba man or whatever, I'm not bothered about those descriptions. You see, this country belongs to us. Let me ask a simple question for those who love Nigeria. Some of us have been speaking. There were things we have taken as custom against the Constitution. At a time in this country, some people could move around with dagger. It was like part of their fashion. We were talking about Almanjiri. Now we are talking about bandits. So where next?
Let me hold you for a minute. We have a caller from Benin. Good morning, Michael.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Go ahead with your contribution.
God will bless you.
Oh, I think we lost that call. Michael, try to call back so that we can... but when you were talking about the efforts of Mr. President and how the Constitution has given the responsibility for protection of lives and the welfare, largely to the leadership, what about the Nigerian system and the structures as they currently are? Because many are saying that until we amend the Constitution, to allow for state and community policing as the first line of security, then there is little that the president himself can do.
I dropped that on the table of the National Assembly. Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 as amended, says that the National Assembly shall make laws for the peace, the order, and good governance of Nigeria. You see, so if we have come to the point where this state policing has been so overflogged, and we are having inefficient security in the land, and let them be, they have said it, some of them will not return in 2023 because they didn't make it at primaries. We are all coming back to the society. It's to confront what we are confronting. And I know the governance system so well. When you are in office, you are exalted. You may have 17 security agents following you around. The moment you step out of office, many people will not even remember your birthday.
Then the reality.
And that's why we are driving this advocacy. Develop this country. Develop it. Crude oil that we fight over does not speak any language. You know what I mean? I just asked the question now. Are we saying that when we profile the oil thieves, they are from one ethnic group? No. Are we now saying it's one ethnic group that is in the National Assembly? No. It's just a matter of priority. Security is sacrosanct. When God created the Garden of Eden, the first thing he did was security. And he instructed the occupant. He made laws for them. And when they fouled, when they ran foul of the laws, he took them out. You see, so we have laws. When we even talk about the Constitution, fine, on some fundamental issues like state policing, control of resources, regionalism, and things like that, fine. But go and read, please. I'm appealing to our audience. Read section 14 to section 18 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. You'll be amazed that if those provisions have been implemented up to 40%, Nigeria should be the third richest country in the world. There are nice provisions there. But do we implement our laws? We were told that about 400 sponsors of terrorism have been identified. Who are they? Which courts are they being prosecuted?
We have to go now. Let's just take one last call. Ada, you have 30 seconds.
Hello, listen, yes, listen and guest. Mr. Ada calling from the Plateau State. Let me tell you something. We're not proactive. Bushes everywhere. Did you look at that railway station? When the Cardinal Oath happened, I knew it would happen again. And it might happen again. I'm not wishing it, but it might happen. We are under police. And the National Assembly didn't do anything about it just because of President Buhari said it wasn't an option. They killed it. Yeah, idea. So I can't wait for 26th February. Let us go and vote wisely and get people who will come there and look at national issues from a national perspective, not by primordial statements. This security will continue the way it is continuing. You know, every day people are being killed here and there. And the media, and I think people should be careful when you want to report. You know, make sure you get the facts before you start reporting. I don't know why most people are in a hurry to report. All the same, let's not do about this country. Shall be well.
Thank you, Ada, for your contribution. So,
and by the way, INEC has cautioned that insecurity may disrupt the elections. And I hope this is not the conclusion of predictive analysis, because I have said it, that insecurity may become a tool to dislodge the 2023 election. So whatever the case may be, like, help this nation, deliver on this mandate. The security of one is the security of all.
Absolutely. Good place to leave it. Jide Ologun, lawyer, public affairs analyst, and security expert. Thank you for joining us this morning. I like the fact that you establish the truth that criminality has no ethnic or religious coloration to it. Crime is crime, and we're hoping that the residents in Igweben will join hands with security agencies in their search and rescue efforts and also bring those kidnappers to book. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. We'll continue the conversation online. See you again tomorrow. Good morning.